Guys, I cannot sleep at all, man. I can't turn my brain off. I feel physically exhausted, but mentally my mind is going a million miles an hour. So usually when I'm like this, I just try and channel my nervous energy into making content until I fucking pass out. Um, I'm getting like I'll have my medication later when I go to the pharmacy and pick it up when it's open, so I should be able to knock myself out and get some sleep. But it'll be during the day, and I really don't want to mess up my sleep cycle. But because I've been sleeping, I trying to go to sleep at 8 p.m. and wake up at 8 a.m. every night for like over a year now. Usually my sleep pattern sorts itself back out, but at the moment it is fucked, mate. So I'm gonna try and go through every single fucking article on dummies.com, and it's the website for blah 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 for dummies series. And this next article that I'm going to go through is Stoicism for Dummies cheat sheet. So, yeah, these articles are really good. I really enjoy reading them. They're short and concise and saves buying the whole book. I know there's obviously going to be a lot of gold in the actual books, but yeah, no, these articles are really good, and I'll be offering my own anecdotes and shit like that in there. And let's get cracking. So this is Stoicism for Dummies. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that has become amazingly popular throughout the world in just the past few years. Philosophy? Popular? Yes, it is amazing, but it's also true. In business, sports, entertainment, and the military, Stoicism is huge. Yeah, man, a lot of successful people are Stoics, or at least they follow some of the, if you can call them, tenets of Stoicism. So, carrying on. Stoicism got its start in Athens, Greece. Oh, wow. Around the year 300 BCE. Makes sense, I suppose, seeing as like philosophy, Greece was sort of like the seat of philosophy. Anyway, this philosophy migrated to mighty Rome, where it flourished as a very popular and highly practical way of living. But like so many once popular philosophies, it began to wane in its public influence. But throughout the centuries, and especially in times of turbulence and turmoil, it seems that people have rediscovered this ancient body of wisdom, one that's perfect for periods of disruptive change and uncertainty. Do you know one thing I like about Stoicism, as a side note, is as a Christian, I'm very careful about what sort of philosophies and stuff I follow, because there's a lot of spiritualism involved in a lot of that sort of stuff that doesn't align with Christianity. But Stoicism seems to be like the only one that I feel like in good conscience I can like sort of like follow, if that makes sense. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but you know, I get the gist and I really do enjoy it. So what is Stoicism all about? You've probably heard about Stoicism in social media, but what does it really mean to be a Stoic? Here are some Stoic claims to get you started. There are two kinds of things in the world: the things we can control and the things we can't. That's so true. Nothing can upset you unless you let it. Like the wise path is to focus on what you can control and not worry about the rest. That is a mate. Honestly, if you could just take one rule from Stoicism, that would be the one. That would be the one. I'm gonna read it again. There are two kinds of things in this world: the things we can control and the things we can't. Nothing can upset you unless you let it. The wise path is to focus on what you can control and not worry about the rest. That is gold right there. Okay, next one. Very little is needed for a happy life. Try being good. Moral excellence alone can do the trick. Next one. It's not stuff in the world that bothers us, but how we think about stuff in the world. That is deep. I suppose it's like the first one, but it's oh man, this is just, it's gold. This is why it's so popular among successful people, because it really does help you deal with stuff in your life. Next one. The only true good is virtue. The Greek word arete, translated as virtue, means inner strength. The only essentially bad thing is vice, a sort of moral failing or weakness. That's very interesting. So vice, obviously, vice can be something that grips you, like an addiction or a habit or something. But here it's saying also like a sort of moral failing or weakness. I suppose that addiction is a moral failing or weakness. And that's coming from an ex-heroin addict myself. So yeah, it involved. Yeah, no, that's really deep, man. Okay, next one. A good person does not have to fear harm from anything or anyone. The only thing that can really harm us is our own freely chosen wrongful choices. So you see there, That if you include victim blaming in it, then maybe. But I'm a little bit. Maybe I'm just confused about that one. Let's try and dig that apart again. A good person does not have to fear harm from anything or anyone. Yeah, you don't have to fear it, but it can still happen to you when it's not your fault. I don't like this next bit. The only thing that can really harm us is our own freely chosen wrongful choices. I don't agree with that. There's things that can. What about all the people in Hiroshima? There's things you can't control, man. Doesn't mean it's your fault. That's see what I mean about victim blaming. Anyway, I'll let the ancient Stoics off because they didn't know about nuclear bombs and shit like that back then. You can still get stabbed when you're walking along the road down back then. Anyway, the two most distinctive things about human beings are our reason and rationality. We can think in powerful, intricate ways and form amazing, complex communities. Oh, I love that, man. That's one thing I love about the internet. I'm going to read that again. The two most distinctive things about human beings are our reason and our rationality. We can think in powerful, intricate ways and form amazing, complex communities. Oh, I love that so much. Next one. We all have circles of influence and belonging in the world. When we use them well, starting with what's near, we can improve even what's far. I love that as well. It's sort of like how Jordan Peterson talks about starting with baby steps. So, like what it says there, when starting with what's near, we can improve even what's far. So yeah, if you start off small, you can eventually get to big, or like one step in front of the other. There's a lot of different cliche ways of saying it, but it's true, man. It's cliche for a reason. The next is death is not to be feared. Right, one sec. Okay, so that's a hard one. Death is not to be feared. That is a hard one. So death, because I've been so close to death before myself and done silly things in the past myself, um, I'm not as afraid of death as I used to be. But I think to say, if for someone to say then, and also I've got my faith, so I know where I'm going when I die. So death doesn't necessarily scare the shit out of me, but it's still going to be a scary experience dying. To me, I'm not going to be like fear free when I die, especially if it's a painful death. But yeah, death. It's a good philosophy to live by. That like death is not to be feared. Like, but obviously, if you push it too far, you can end up acting recklessly. But yeah, I get it. I get it. I wish I could completely abolish my own fear of death because I think it would be good psychologically. But I'm quite an anxious guy. So this next section says common problems that Stoicism can help you deal with. It's a floor cleaner and a dessert topping. It's a philosophy and a mood stabilizer. But seriously, a Stoic approach can help anyone in this crazy world deal with all kinds of issues, including these: anger, frustration, worry and fear, social anxieties, impatience, difficult people, ridiculous people, social media. I thought he was talking about me for a second, and I'm pretty ridiculous. Social media. Sorry, we're repeating ourselves. What? They didn't say social media. Oh, okay, I get it. It's a joke. It's better than my joke. It's a joke about how they're talking about impatience, difficult people, and ridiculous people. Then they say social media. Sorry, we're repeating ourselves. I get it. Basically, there's a lot of plebs and heads on social media, and then these are more things that can help you with disruptive change and uncertainty, loneliness, sadness, and depression. How does it help? How does it help with loneliness? I guess it could. It don't help me with fucking loneliness though, or sadness. And well, yeah, it does help me with sadness and depression. To tell a lie, unhealthy self-talk and self-images, adversity, suffering, loss and grief, negative thinking, unhealthy desires and emotions, being judgmental. I feel like I went through that list too fast, man. So I know I can see how Stoicism could help with all of those things. I really do, but I feel like I went through the list too fast. So it says it's a philosophy and a mood stabilizer. I wish I need a mood stabilizer. My bipolar is out of control. A stoic approach can help anyone in this crazy world deal with all kinds of issues, including these. So anger, definitely I can see because, like There's no point being angry at things you can't control. Same as frustration. No point being frustrated at things you can't control. Worry and fear. Same story there. Social anxiety. See, really need to apply that to my social anxiety. Because I do get social anxiety really bad. I handle it well on the outside, but internally it eats me up. So I could help with the internal side of it. Right. Impatience. That I definitely need 100%, man. I am so impatient. I can be very patient, but inside, again, internally, I'm so impatient. Difficult people. That's a hard one. A lot of people will struggle with that one, like using stoicism to help with that, because it's easy to get frustrated at other people. When I'm in a bad mood state, I can get very irritable and I get really frustrated at difficult people, and I want to tell them a piece of my mind. But what is the point? I guess that's how stoicism relates. What is the point? You are not going to be able to change the mind of difficult or ridiculous people, so why even bother? Just let them do their thing and don't let it affect you like negatively. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just makes sense. Social media, you can't control social media. That's a beast all in and of itself. So yeah, disruptive change and uncertainty. Yeah, that makes sense. Loneliness. I don't know how. I mean, I suppose you could be stoic and just be like, look, I can't control that I'm lonely, but I feel like you can. You can go and form bonds with people. You can control that. You can take action um to be less lonely. Where I suppose stoicism can come in is like, if you fail and you can't, then you just got to put up with it that you may not be a very socially acceptable person, and you just got to deal with it. It's sort of like fatalism, but whatever. Um, Sadness and depression. Yeah, but if it's a chemical thing in your brain, then stoicism isn't really going to do it's for your mood. Like, you can logically tell yourself all day long that, oh, I've got nothing to be depressed about, I've got nothing to be sad about, I should be grateful, blah 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 blah. But if there's a chemical thing going on in your mind and you've got a mood disorder or depression or anxiety, I don't think stoicism is necessarily going to cure that. I'm not slating stoicism, I'm slating the application of stoicism in this article, just to be clear. Because I think stoicism, I suppose stoicism is kind of fluid. Like, it depends. It's sort of like, what's the word? Where it's subjective. So some of it, like, it's going to be different for everyone. So I can't really blame the writer of this. Unhealthy self-talk and self-images. Yeah, man. If you're more stoic about yourself, then you're gonna be less self-critical and care less about your self-image. That makes sense. Adversity, definitely overcoming challenges and shit like that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, look what the Romans achieved, man. I reckon a lot of that was down to stoicism. They conquered the world, man. And the next one says suffering. Yeah, loss and grief. I can see how stoicism would help loss and grief, but again, it's one of those things, like, I feel like loss and grief is so stark, and it sucks so much that it's the kind of thing you can't really talk yourself out of. Like, I think it's something you've just got to go through naturally, like the frozen emotions of it. Negative thinking, definitely. I'm glad I went through this list. Negative thinking, definitely you can alter with stoicism. But again, sometimes things are just going to be like as they are. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really. I think they're going a bit far with this article. Honestly, I think they're going a bit far with the power of stoicism. They're acting as if it's that, like, some miracle cream that can solve everything, but I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that at all. Unhealthy desires and emotions and being judgmental. Yeah, definitely can help with being judgmental. Do you know the weird thing about being judgmental? Yeah, I know they don't mean it like this, but when people say you shouldn't judge people, you're making judgments all the time. You're making a judgment on how your mind. You're making a judgment on what to have for dinner. You're making a judgment on who's your friend or not. You need to judge things. It's part of rationalizing through life. You like we judge things every microsecond, but I get what they mean. They mean like being judgmental about other people in a negative light. I get that. But yeah, Stoicism could definitely help with that. Okay, so the next section says how Stoicism can help with all the preceding problems by enabling. Okay, I should have read this before. How can Stoicism help with all the preceding problems by enabling you to improve in the following areas: developing self-discipline and self-mastery, finding clarity and focus, finding calmness, being a more ethical person, nurturing better relationships, building better teams and stronger communities. So developing self-discipline and self-mastery. Yeah, I really do think that that is the main tenet of Stoicism that I try to instill in myself is being a more disciplined person, a more like less indulgent and less hedonistic, and like being more sensible is one way I'd put it. And self mastery, like getting to know who I am, what are my weaknesses, what are my strengths, where I want to be in life, how I can get there, what's stopping me from getting there, and how to achieve what I want to achieve. So I feel like that's a big core of Stoicism, as I understand it. So finding clarity and focus, yeah, it helps you cut through all the emotional and just look at things sensibly and rationally. Finding calmness, definitely, because when you cut out those worries of stuff that doesn't matter, and you stop worrying about things you can't control, it gives you a sense of calmness. I'm bad at implementing this in my life because I get really anxious, but I found that stoic tenets can really help me with my anxiety a lot of the time, and I feel like that's going to get better and better over time until I am a lot less anxious. I really do feel like that, and I hope that's the case. Being a more ethical person. If you need stoicism to be ethical, then you've probably got issues. You've probably got serious issues. I mean, we've all got issues, but I mean, like being ethical, I feel like it's a part of your character. So I'm guessing if you're not very ethical, you can use stoicism to sort of self-reflect and become more ethical. Looking at morals and like stuff like that. Yeah, nurturing better relationships. I can see how it would definitely help with relationships, 100%. Because you get less frustrated at your partner for things, like for little things. And yeah, man, I could see it really helping with relationships, not just partners either, like just friendships in general, which is I think what they mean. Like anyone building better teams and stronger communities. Interesting. So I'm guessing they're talking about whoever curates or manages these teams and communities, like them using stoic philosophy to help guide that. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Helpful Stoic practices. Before you take a deep dive into Stoicism for Dummies, try some of the following practices to get yourself into the Stoic mindset. Begin each day by reminding yourself that life is difficult, people are difficult, and that's okay. You can deal with it. Man, I might print this article out and stick it to my front door. I swear to God, honestly, I'm not even exaggerating. I don't say swear to God lightly. Like I really think this would help me. This is going to be a much longer video than I thought because I knew it was going to be interesting, but it's really making me self-reflect, and I really like it, man. This is why I love Stoicism so much. It makes a lot of sense. Let me have a break quickly and have a little bit of tea and a vape. This video is going to be so good. I don't know how well it'll be received, but for me, I'm going to be really happy with this video. Yeah, and like you, and as I've said previously, I like doing everything all in one take. Sometimes I edit out bits I regret saying, but generally speaking, I do everything in one take, and then I only edit out bits that I regret, or if I really mess up on one sentence or something like that, or one section. Anyway, I guess I should be more stoic about it. That's a shit joke. But what can I do to change the fact that I've just said that shit joke? Nothing. So I should just be stoic about it. And that's another shit joke. And then we can go around in an infinite loop. Right. So, before you take a deep dive into Stoicism for Dummies, try some of the following practices to get yourself into the Stoic mindset. Begin each day by reminding yourself that life is difficult, people are difficult, and that's okay, you can deal with it. End each day by asking these questions: what did I do well today? What badly? And what else could I have done? Be grateful to those who have helped you. Remind yourself of all the good in your life. When something you don't like happens, put it into perspective, zoom out from it. Imagine it in the infinity of space and time and see it as a tiny, even minuscule in the grand scheme of things. Don't sweat the small stuff and feel better. When something you really do like happens, don't lose your head over it. Calm down. Enjoy your good fortune without going off the deep end. Oh, I would struggle with that a lot. When you feel yourself getting irritated or angry, pause, breathe, give yourself a minute. Remember that life is hard. Everybody has their struggles and bad days, and kindness is always the better option. That's so true. You're never going to make a situation better by being a dick to someone, whether they deserve it or not. And people always get their comeuppance, yeah? You don't have to be the person who gets their hands dirty and deals with someone in whatever sort of way, physical or, verbally. Someone bigger is going to come and put them in their place. It doesn't have to be you, so you don't have to deal with the consequences. You should just leave it, man. Like, things work themselves out. Learn to roll with the punches and make lemonade out of lemons. Treat obstacles as opportunities and fuel for greater success. That is so true. Any problem can become a solution, I believe. I know it sounds really cheesy, but a problem in and of itself can be a solution to something else. If you can overcome a problem in your life that you've been avoiding, instead of being scared of it, just tackle it head on and deal with whatever comes, no matter how painful. Deal with the problem, because dealing with a problem and solving it is always better than letting it fester and ignoring it. That's my perception of the issue anyway. Common misconceptions about Stoics. There's a fair bit of misunderstanding about Stoicism floating out there. Believe it or not, none of the following claims about Stoics are true. False. Stoics never show feelings. Oh yeah, some people do think that, don't they? They think that Stoicism is just not having any emotions or feeling. I think that's because when people don't let something affect them, they call it stoic. So yeah, I can understand how people have that misconception. False. Stoics are cold fish and have no feelings. False. Stoics are uncaring and oblivious to bad things. False. Stoics are stiff and emotionally unavailable. False. Stoics make poor friends or romantic partners. False. Stoics think mostly about themselves and not others. False. Stoics are easy to recognise because they wear togas or robes and have beards. False. Stoics all believe exactly the same things about the world and how to live it well. False. Stoics are required by their philosophy to buy lots of books and listen to podcasts on Stoicism. Parentheses, bit of an inside joke. Yeah, that was pretty good. I like that. That's the end of the article. That's the end of the article. So this is the end of the video. I've been everything bite size. Check out my shorts. Check out my music videos. Check out my other videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.